lucky I am to have such an intimate group of dedicated parents here with us tonight. So thanks for coming. We know that there are at least 10 folks on the live stream. So we have company at home. Hello. Thanks so much for being with us. This is a new tradition that we are happy to start at Dubai American Academy. I don't know if you're familiar, but in the United States, once a year, the president addresses Congress to give a State of the Union as well as legislation that's going to be coming up. So this is DAA's version to share with you the work of the school and our hopes and our dreams for your children for next year. So we are so grateful that you're here with us to hear about all that we have planned, and I know that you will see excitement on all of our faces as we share our journey. So let me just have my clicker going here. Thank you. It's upside down. Oh, turning it on is also a good thing, besides pointing it in the right direction. See, persistence is a trait we try to work on here at DAA, and I will keep at it until I get it to work. Oh, there we go. So I feel kind of silly, but I just want to, I'm Tammy Murphy. I am the extremely proud superintendent of Dubai American Academy. It's my second year with this learning community, and I've moved all the way from California, and to be honest, it was almost 9,000 miles, and I have enjoyed every minute of my time with this fabulous community. So I'd like to start by telling you about our senior leadership team, amazing individuals that really are a gift to this school and that I feel so fortunate to work with each and every day. Welcome. So our senior leadership team, many of which are on the stage with us, so I would like them to just stand and acknowledge them, please. Additionally, we have some very important people, Gabrielle and Hilda, who are always here to support our families, and Emily Kanua, who works in my office. Really, I would not be complete without her support every day, so thank you, Emily. We had kind of fun today adding up how many years we've been in this business. And today we verified we have over 300 years in education. I always say I'm starting my 35th year, and I have not regretted this choice of a career for 1 minute. I often tell your children when I have the opportunity to speak to them, that is one of my hopes for you. I hope that you find a profession where there's not one day it feels like work, but pure joy. So we bring to you experiences from many different countries and learning communities, from public to private, from big to small. And really, that diversity adds to our leadership team. And speaking about diversity, that's something I think that makes DA so unique. There are 98 countries represented in our school. That diversity really helps our students learn to be better communicators, to appreciate values that are different than their own, and really opens them up to the world in which they'll work. Just saying, the school next door is not as diverse as ours. And I think that's great for whatever parents want to choose. For me, being a leader of this school, that's something that every day I see adds value to the DAA learning community. What a gift. Even a few weekends ago, 9 of my son's friends were over, and they were all on the dining room table. And to listen to dialogue, going back and forth, how they came at things differently, but the boys all learned to have a circle of viewpoints and listen. I see that in our classrooms, and that's something that has an extraordinary value for our children. Enrollment. So we are near our max enrollment projection. So for those of us that worked or interacted at the old DA campus, we were a little under 2,300 students. We joined the wonderful learning community of nations to make DA 2.0. And we are sitting right about 2,700 students, 2,706, give or take. And what we are projected, our target for next year is 2,727. The actual max capacity of the school is 2,752. That makes our class sizes 25. And as you know, when you get into the secondary school with master schedules, that may mean one section is 23, one's 26, but overall our average is 25. And for the little guys in KG1 and KG2, it'll be 22. So that's how we'll build the school and the schedule for next year. And as you know, in middle school this year, we had a little bit of re-enrollment, and we made a commitment to families that would be extremely mindful of that class size for next year. I'm sure you've heard, because I know you watch all my video messages every Thursday. We are so pleased to report that we have earned our 8th outstanding rating from KHDA. I was new to this inspection process, and what I can share with you from my vantage point is I really value that we have an external body that comes in that helps verify the work we're doing internally. So when we look at our inspection report, or we interacted with the 9 inspectors that came to our school for a week, we found that the things they were asking us or wondering about were the same things. I don't think there was really any one point where we said, oh, that's not accurate, we're wonderful at that. So I'm sure you know in your own work or in your own household, you think about that. It is the way I'm thinking about this benchmark to the best out there. And that is a real value that we've found through that process. This next fall, in October, we also will have our 5-year review for our accreditation for CIS and NES. Again, another external body that comes as critical friends to benchmark us against the best schools in the world, and to say to DAA, here are some areas of growth for you, and here are some areas that you should keep at it, because what you're doing is of the highest quality. So we'll have that inspection process mid-October. And that verification is a requirement for KHDA to be an authorized American school. We'll talk more about the inspection report as we go through. Divisions will have some pieces weaved in of our work for next year. Culture is so powerful. It's what you feel when you're in a school. It's what people understand as part of being part of the learning community. So just teased out a few things that you'll absolutely hear more about as our division team speaks. They're all our kids. I may be a 2nd grade teacher or an IB physics teacher, but this is the DAA learning community. So we think about all our students all the time. We think about the thread in their journey and curriculum. We think about them when they're walking through the halls without their shoes tied, which apparently is a big problem here, as noted by the KHDA inspectors. That and the length of our girls' skirts. So we need to work on that. That they're all our kids, we're all working together to make them the best human beings possible. I think any good school in any organization is always thinking about how we can be better. You don't slow down. You keep evolving and changing, because what we know is every year our students change. And so we have to think about how we reach them. So we really are committed to continue to innovate and think about the work in the best way possible. We know that not just this leadership team on stage can make this school the best they can be. So there's a really large focus that has been going on around how do we develop capacity in all of our staff. And Lisa Ramshaw will speak more about that when she talks about professional development. It's not just about math testing, although hashtag math matters. It is about data, whether that's observations when I'm in a classroom, whether that's a standardized test, an internal assessment. They all tell us about how our students are learning and ways we can adjust for them to learn everything possible. So data is a very big role. We were so fortunate last year to add an academic data coordinator, Anna, who's here on stage, whose job is always to be thinking about that. We gave the PISA test, TIMSS test, we've given some really big international assessments. We don't always hear about them in the timely manner, but when we do, it is another way for us to benchmark ourselves against the best countries in the world, because we want nothing less for our children here at DAA. Each school sits back and thinks, why would a parent pick this school? What makes us different? We label those USPs, or our unique selling points. Here at DAA, we've married a lot of things as we've become this new learning community, this vibrant community. Obviously, innovation is a part of being at this school, but what you'll hear tonight is it's not just about the stuff, the computers, the robots, the hummingbirds. It's also about the way we think. So when you hear our new middle school principal, Lisa, speak about adjusting the schedule or thinking about the way adolescents are grouped, this is innovation. Always trying to make it the best for the learners we serve. Future fluencies and our work with Lee Crockett you'll hear about tonight, that's the epicenter of all of our curriculum. What we know is that DAA has been around for 20 years and has had remarkable results. So we never want to forget that outstanding heritage, but we'll continue to expand on that in years to come. Vigor. Rigor is kind of fallen off the wayside, because rigor just sounds like hard, go, push, push, push. Where vigor is learning that is vibrant and engaging and academically challenged. So that's another area that we're looking at. And that was one area that we will focus deeply on, because in our inspection report, they asked us to ensure that we are challenging each and every student to their full potential. So we want to continue to drill down on how do we differentiate for all our learners and really get to this point of personalization. So that is a strong focus in our action plan following the inspection. And linked to that, of course, personalization is that it's as individualized as possible, so that we're sure what each learner needs is what each learner gets each and every day here at DA. We did a really great exercise this fall, which is reach out to some of our graduates after they had spent a few months in university. It was a very simple question. Just think about your experiences. You're ending like kind of the first term of college life, and just give us 3 minutes. What at DAA prepared you, or would you have changed to be better prepared as you've approached university life? So I thought I would share with you one voice of a graduate who is at Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo, kind of like middle of California, not far from where I came from. And this is Raya, sorry.
This is Raya Tamir, and I'm at California Polytechnic and State University in San Luis Obispo. I was at Dubai American Academy for 2 years, for 11th and 12th grade, and I graduated valedictorian for the class of 2018. When I was at DAA, I honestly loved the teachers so much. They were among the best teachers that I've ever had, and especially when you compare them to university professors. There was just a level of support that was just incredible at DAA. When I was at DAA, I also did a lot of extracurriculars. I helped out with TEDx. I did a whole bunch of sports, and honestly, I feel like it made my university application really stand out, because you not only have the academic side of your portfolio, but you also have elements that show that you're a rounded student, that you excel in a lot of areas of student life, and universities really like to see that. Being at DAA helped me prepare for university in a way that I never really expected. I mean, the IB program is so rigorous. It really forces you to create a study ethic that a lot of American high school students just don't have. So I'm in the architecture studio sometimes until midnight on school nights and on weekends, and I have the stamina to do that because that's what the academics at DAA provided me. And also my best memory at DAA, hands down, was dodgeball sevens in senior year, for sure. Bye.
There was some howling in the background. That was your university campus, it wasn't us. It's my pleasure now to introduce you to Craig Cantley, our elementary principal. And Craig joined us just this year from Canada, and he has been a true gift and is quite a vision for our elementary school that I'm sure he's happy to share with you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. On behalf of the elementary leadership team, we really appreciate you coming out tonight, filling the theater, and because honestly, your kids spend most of their time here at school, and it's important you're knowledgeable and advocates for them, so thank you for coming out. So I would like to just quickly address the elementary leadership team. We will have a change next year. Miss Anita Simpson will be moving on to be head of school at American International School in Hong Kong. Anita has brought many gifts and talents to our school and has worked very hard to bring this school together. Over the last 8 months, we have really worked hard to build continuity in the language and the systems that we have across the grades from K to 5, and Anita's been a key part of that. So a round of applause for And I'm keen to announce that Miss Lynn Turman, who is our current grade 3 teacher, will be moving up into the elementary school leadership team next year and has joined us here tonight. So welcome. So as I said, over the last 8 months, we have tried to build continuity from K to 5 in terms of the language that we're using in our classroom. So your children who are in grade 1 will go on to grade 3 and have the same language and literacy and numeracy and inquiry that they'll then have in grade 5, because that helps with the scaffolded learning. We've also built systems in place where our teachers are working within the same programs and the same frameworks and the same scaffolds, so we can all have collaborative conversations, because honestly, if we work together, we're going to have more synergy. Over the last 8 months, we've done a lot of listening and collaborating and planning to bring a plan to move forward with for 2019-2020. Personally, I have taught in international schools in Japan. I have worked within the IB program. I have taught in British schools. I have been in Canadian schools. So I have a wealth of experiences and knowledge that I bring, as well as our elementary leadership team and our staff. And what we are striving to do is bring together all of our experiences to create the most excellent school in the world here at DAA and here in elementary. And so the foundation that we're going to move forward with is IQ'd. We needed something in elementary that we could hang our hats on, something that would be the lens that we would move everything forward in terms of our programming and our learning. So IQ'd stands for inquiry, innovation, and integrity. So I'm going to start with inquiry. So we are a future fluent school. That maybe is what drew you to DAA. The future fluencies are an inquiry-driven process. We have solution fluency, information, collaboration, creativity, and media fluency. But at the root of all of it, it is process-driven learning. It is content, but that content is driven through concepts. And our students work not to learn the material and regurgitate the material. They learn to take that material and make something new with it. Last week, we were very fortunate. Lee Crockett, who is the founder of the Fluencies, was here doing professional development with our staff. And I asked him to do a little 30-second video clip just welcoming you to the school and giving you a little bit of background. He wouldn't do it, so I took his photo. Just kidding. You're getting all the slides now. Well, let me promise you, it was excellent. And what we'll do is we will put it up onto another platform. We'll put it into MailChimp so that you can watch it on your leisure on the weekend. But what Lee kind of talked a lot about was how the fluencies have really influenced learning across the world at schools he's worked at, and how the progress that he has seen here. One of the things I really took from it was that he mentioned inquiry is content rich, and that's an important part. People think different things about inquiry. Some people think it is free-flowing, there's no structure to it, that kids just take the learning wherever they want. And that's not true. There is a Common Core curriculum that we use here at DAA that grounds what we do. The learning that students do is process-driven. So they are going through solution fluency, they are defining their problem, they're discovering and researching, they are dreaming what the solution will be, designing a plan forward, they are then presenting it and debriefing and reflecting back on what they do. This is what makes excellent learners. So, in terms of inquiry, there's a lot of skill development. Our kids are great researchers. Our kids ask really good questions. Across our classrooms, you're going to find cue charts where our students can look to see which are the questions that they want to ask that make sense for what they're trying to learn about. Our students are excellent at collaborating and communicating, and how that works is they learn through experience, but they also learn through the feedback that teachers are giving them on a regular basis as they are doing it. Our kids are analyzing and evaluating. They're not asking only what and when questions. They're asking a lot of why and how. And our students are creators. You should see some of the stuff they create, whether it's hands-on, whether it's ideas. I can't tell you how many students come to my office and feel comfortable sharing the ideas that they have that have come out of the learning that they've done in their classroom, and that is fantastic. Oh man, I'm supposed to be showing these slides. All right, so I'll go a little bit into this. I'll overlap a little bit, but what you're going to see here, these are the essential questions that our kids are answering. These are the essential questions they are asking. Hold on. I don't think any of my videos are going to work. So, I'm going to go to innovation. I want to go back to actually inquiry for a second. Now, if this had played, imagine this. Imagine video, pictures of your students doing excellent things working together. If you're on Twitter, you would have seen a lot of the pictures that we've put on Twitter. But these are a sample of the questions that you will see happening around our school from K to 5. Big global questions that our students are answering and our teachers are unpacking. Innovation. So, with innovation, as Tammy mentioned earlier, it's a way of being. It is about the ed tech that we use in the classroom. It is about the Hummingbird. It is about the Lego we use. It is about the Spiros. Those are all excellent components to what we do in learning, but it is a way of being. It's a way of taking risks in learning. It's the risks that we encourage our students to do. It's about being an early adopter in terms of research, in terms of practices that are research-based. One of the things that we have at the schools, we're very well-resourced. We're well-resourced with ed tech products, but we're also well-resourced in terms of staffing. We have 2 innovation activators who work with our teachers on a daily basis, going into classrooms. We do not have tech time. We do not have an hour in the week where teachers come in and teach kids about technology. We embed our technology into the learning that we're doing to make it more relevant and meaningful. For example, one of the classrooms was doing living things, and they were going to grow plants. So rather than just grow the plants and buy the pots, the innovation activator went into the room. They did CAD design in grade 2 of plant pots. They designed them in CAD and they printed them off with a 3D printer in the room. The level of engagement you saw in the kids doing that sort of activity was amazing, and it's part of what makes this the most innovative school in the world. We are becoming an Apple Distinguished School, and within that, we have had every grade will be before the end of May, going to the Apple Store. We've partnered with Apple, so our students, grades 1 to 5, off to the Apple Store with learning intention and a project that connects to the learning they're doing in socials and science, and having the staff at the Apple Store help them create something interesting out of that. I can tell you my son is in grade 2, and I heard about that field trip for a couple hours on the way home. We really do pride ourselves on being creators of with technology and not simply consumers of technology. So you can have the inquiry, you can have the innovation, but if you don't have character and you don't have integrity, the innovation and the inquiry doesn't really matter. So, over the last year, we have PBIS, which has been helping us shape our students' behaviors and identify where they're at. We have had the PAUSE program, and in recent months we began the PAUSE certificates. How many people are from elementary? How many people have elementary students? How many people have, and I could be setting myself up here, but how many people have PAUSE certificates on their fridge? Or have, thank you, yes. Yeah, the pride the students take in having PAUSE certificates, getting acknowledged for showing pride, for having a positive attitude, for making wise choices, and for being safe, has really helped shape our kids to be more positive in their behavior. We have the 100% club. Students are still, it goes up one day at the beginning of the next term, and everyone runs up to see if they've made the 100% club, and they continue to come like it might change, and it doesn't. It changes at the end of every term, but our students take a lot of pride. I've had one parent call me and ask me if they can take the day off with their child. Their child won't let them because they don't want to miss out on the 100% club, so they asked if there was any way that I would be able to be a little bit flexible on that, and I wasn't. The other thing we started to notice is shoelaces seem to be the bane of my existence. If you walk through our elementary school, you will see students with their shoelaces untied all of the time. It's crazy. And so what I've started doing is I've started stopping kids in the hallway and telling them I need them to be safe, and without safety, I will not be able to live a happy day. And so what has now happened is kids will see me down the hall. We will make eye contact, and they will drop to the ground and start tying up their shoelaces. It is this positive reinforcement. It is this fun engagement with these kind of things that are going to help shape the behavior of our students. What we are going to do is take pause, and we're going to morph this into Leopard Pride next year and try to create a program that helps us really institute that integrity piece with our students. High expectations, explicit expectations, logical consequences that they understand, but the most important part of all of that is the relationships. We need to have positive relationships. We, staff and adults in this school, need to be modeling for our children what is expected, and that is where we are going to begin to build integrity, more integrity in our students. I often say academics is the key, but we're also raising little humans, so integrity and empathy for others is just as important. So in terms of being innovative is it's a way of being, and I'm excited to tell you, you're a small exclusive group. I'm just going to tell you, we have a pilot project going on right now where we have started to change our classrooms. Classrooms tend to be relatively uniform spaces. We build these amazing breakout spaces throughout schools, throughout the world, that are built on collaboration, critical thinking, creativity. Libraries are built like this. All these different microenvironments for kids to exist in. Yet our classrooms, you can exchange the desks for tables, still are the same classrooms that we learned in. They still are designed for teacher delivery. And so, Ms. Turman, I asked her on a Friday if she would be willing to change her classroom for a Sunday, and she was. It goes back to our early adopters. But we have created a classroom that has microenvironments. So during the day, our students can go to these different areas of the classroom depending upon what their learning needs are. And when I went in and I asked them how they felt about it, they felt it was calmer. They felt that it was inspiring. One girl said, I can move to spaces during the day so I can do my best thinking in the place that makes sense to me. One child also said, I feel smarter. I wish I had reported that. But she felt smarter because of her environment. And there's not a lot of studies on this, but this is the way classrooms are changing. But there has been a recent study that showed that there was a 16% improvement in academic scores when environments were warm, welcoming, safe, and there was student ownership and agency in terms of that environment. So that is a pilot project that we are beginning, and we are hoping to move forward into other classrooms. So I-Cubed is the cornerstone and the foundation of what we do, but we also have high expectations of our students in terms of their behavior and their academics. We have vigor. So that vigor, as Tammy said, is we are challenging students to push themselves beyond what they think is possible. Push for their personal excellence, but we want to do it in an engaging way because we want to create lifelong learners. We focus on the academics, the arts, and the athletics. The academics, the foundational skills are still important. Literacy and numeracy is still keen things that we do. I'm very proud of this school, and this is something that has been beyond me. But the numeracy skills of our kids is amazing. Our students understand the concept behind math. You cannot go to many schools and have that. Our students can explain to you why math is the way it is. But we still function and, on the basic math facts and ensure our students are doing that as well. In terms of literacy, we brought Teachers College from New York, a reading and writing workshop, and we've instituted that across our school from K to 5. So again, we have continuity of systems and structures for literacy learning. We are future fluid, which I talked about already, and you'll see in that video that gets sent out on the weekend. It will be amazing. Assessment for learning. I used to work in other systems. When I worked in London, we used to do assessment. We used to look like, teach, test, teach, test, teach, test. We do not believe in assessment like that. We believe in assessment for learning. We believe in a constant feedback loop. Teach, assess, feedback, continue. And that is how we are really going to grow learners. You don't grow learners by teaching, testing, and forgetting. We have a connected community. You'll notice we in elementary school, we have a new weekly parent email that goes out, and the purpose of that is so that we can provide you the whole school look at what's happening in elementary. You have Seesaw. We have had many parents come into us when they've seen the learning walls and see the units of inquiry that our teachers are doing and asked if they could come in and be part of what we do. Connected community also goes to our students and our teachers. We have buddy classes where our grade 2s are learning alongside of our grade 5s, and you might have noticed with our whole school inquiry just before spring break that we had the classes teaching each other. And so as a community, we're going to be stronger academically and in terms of teaching our whole child. And finally, joy. There should be no school that does not have joy. That is the whole purpose. We want to create lifelong learners. We want you to have joy. We would like to have joy, but most importantly, we want the students to have joy. Thank you very much. I'll put the videos up on the weekly updates so you can really enjoy them later, but thank you, and I'll pass it back to you.
You know we practiced like 3 times before you came, and every video worked perfectly. So Murphy's Law. It really is my privilege to introduce you to Lisa Hewitt. As I said, it's my 35th year, and this was just one of those moments when I thought, how did we get so lucky? How did we find this incredible educator with experience at United World College in Singapore, had a school of shakes, I had school for the girls, finishing her 3rd master's, and now I get to say I'm so pleased she's our middle school principal. Lisa?
It's my absolute pleasure to speak with you this evening. First of all, I'd really like to acknowledge the other members of the middle school leadership team. Many of you will know Amy Fleming, the assistant principal of middle school. Amy's been a member of the DAA community for 10 years, and Scott McDonald has sent his apologies tonight. Our dean, unfortunately, he's away ill this evening. The middle school is, I always, when I interview for middle school educators, I myself have worked in 4 different countries. I'm Australian, but I've worked in Hong Kong, in Singapore, previously in Abu Dhabi with the GEMS network, went back for a sabbatical and returned this year. And it was my absolute pleasure to take on the role of middle school principal. Some people wonder why you would work with an age group that is going through such a significant period of change. But I love them, because to me, middle school is about seeing the potential, not the problems. And often people will look at those periods of 11 to 14, and I always look at the students and go, they're very vulnerable. They're going through significant periods of change. So in middle school, there are 3, I know Craig had his 3, we have a different 3 in middle school, but there are 3 things that underpin any decision we make about middle schooling. The first would be, and foremost, any decision we make is how does this impact student learning? But the next one is, as I said, in the middle years, the 11 to 14-year-old age group is going through the most significant period of change since infancy. And I think sometimes we forget that because they look like young adults, or they come in from elementary and they're still young children. By the time they leave us in a short 3 years' time, they look like young adults. But the brain's very much still under development. And so you will see, and any of you, can I just get a show of how many of you have middle schoolers? And if you've got high schoolers, you will have seen that period of change. I myself am an international school parent. Our children have well and truly graduated by now, but I remember those years of those such joy, but also serious transitional. You know, the emotions can be all over the place just in one day, and that's all very much part of their development. So the support and wellbeing is critical as we make decisions, and so are the systems and structures that we're putting into place. And tonight I'll talk to you about some of the things we're currently doing and what we're planning ahead to really look at how do we support the learning, the wellbeing, and the systems and structures to make a large school feel smaller. As I've already said, it's a great period of transition, but that means anything we do really needs to think about the developmentally appropriate. I myself have taught in all grade levels, but there's something about this age group that I honestly believe it's a privilege to work with this age group. I'm sure not all would agree with me, but I truly think that you need the right people to work with 11 to 14-year-olds because they're going through such incredible change and transition. There's a theory of human motivation. It's part of the area I'm studying in at the moment. And it looks at, it's called self-determination theory, if anyone is interested in looking it up later, but it talks about 3 levels that you look at about human beings. This is not just students. The need for autonomy, the need for competence, and the need for relatedness. So in a middle school, as a staff, we look at what in our program is supporting that development. The need for autonomy. That doesn't mean you get to do your own thing all the time. But it does mean it's really, really important to have a voice in what you do and a level of choice. And so some of the things that we are doing at the moment, as we're currently reviewing our program, is to look at what choice is there in the program. Where are the opportunities for student voice through our ambassadors, our student council and other activities. The next is competence. Where does skill equal challenge? So we spoke earlier about personalised learning. It's are our students feeling sufficient challenge, but likewise, does their skill match that challenge? So for some students, that means we need to put in additional support. For others, it means we really need to look at how we are challenging our most able students. The third part, the relatedness. The middle school child has a real crave for independence and responsibility, but they're still a child. So they do need the guidance of adults, but they're trying to work out who they are and where they fit in the world. And so their peers absolutely matter to them, that really strong sense of belonging. So one day they'll come home and they really want you to give them guidance, and you'll often hear this from middle school parents. And on another day, it's like, leave me alone, I can make that decision for myself. So I often find if your firstborn's in middle school, it's what's happened to my child. And I often said in Singapore, when I was running a middle school there, that we work a lot with the parents. It's a period of time for parents where we're seeing such significant change and what's typical. So what I say to parents is everything's typical in middle school. And it's really about just keeping that communication line open and being there to support when needed and knowing when to step back as well to build that sense of autonomy, competence and relatedness. We talked about the rigour. I still use rigour purely because I look at how we're leading into those high school years. So our role is to help to develop the independence and responsibility to ensure they have a strong sense of self as they get into the high school years. So each division has very different developmental needs. But the one thing I find myself since coming into the role, I keep saying to the staff, they are still children and all of us need to have fun. So it was fantastic today. We had pyjama day and it was really, really fun to see the middle school educators also walking around with the students with their pyjamas, because it's Spirit Week. And Spirit's about how do we celebrate fun. We want the school to be a place where there is rigour, but we also want to acknowledge that they are still children and they need to have opportunities for fun. And as I go through the presentation, I'll also look at some of the things we're bringing in for this year and next year to ensure that we're honouring that. Our Transformation Discovery program, we spoke about the future fluencies, and Craig's outlined those at length. And I'm hoping my video does work, but there's a little bit of the Transformation and Discovery. We had an exhibition earlier this year. It was called the Young Innovators Exhibition. It really used the fluencies, but it's really about taking a problem, a real world problem, using technology to transform and being able to solve real problems. And I was absolutely blown away when I spoke with the students about their learning. So their processes that they went through, sometimes their project didn't work the way they'd seen. That's important learning. Because one of the things is about solutions, not problems. We can all see problems in things, but how do we create solutions to them? So I'm hoping the video does work on this one. It did at 5 o'clock. Just a very small example, but as I said, they took a problem, they had to use their technology, they worked in groups, they had to go through a whole lot of processes and work out. And when I was talking to the students, they had some wonderful ways of how drones could solve the problem of poverty by dropping food into drop sites. And there was a whole range of completely different projects. But they were so excited, and the young students at the front with Pepper, they were grade 5s coming in, so it was an opportunity too for those students to look at what are the types of projects that you'll do when you're solving problems in the middle years. But with that, we are developing that program even further next year, so certainly with the innovation, but with the feedback, we've also looked at and said, what are some of the things that we feel that we need to do a better job in that program. So we're also looking at how that links in with the wellbeing and the life skills and study skills and so forth. So no curriculum, good curriculum is stagnant. We're constantly doing what we know is working very well in the curriculum, but also looking at ways that we can modify and refine our curriculum and build on it. Wellbeing, as I said, is critical. Wellbeing is critical whether you're in kindergarten or grade 12. But in the middle years, the structures are really important that help a very large school feel smaller, especially when you're coming out of an elementary school model where you predominantly have one teacher. So this year, the pod structure was introduced to make large middle school feel smaller. So we have 6 pods, and each pod has 4 classes. And so they work with a group of core teachers to make sure that feels smaller. But we're building on that as we go forth. When I employ middle school teachers, there's a quality you can't quantify. And I refer to it as middle school heart. And I ask certain questions, and when you do, you see the educator who sees the potential, a spark lights up. So I myself have taught in elementary classrooms originally, in secondary classrooms. I've loved every age group I've taught. I taught in adult training. But the middle years, there's something about the middle school class, no 2 days are the same. And that means you need flexibly minded members of staff who really enjoy that age group. We have a wellbeing team already. We have a dean of students, the counsellors. Amy and myself make up the core leadership in the wellbeing team, as well as the teachers. But next year we're introducing some new structures. We felt that middle school needs another level of support, so next year we're interviewing currently 4 heads of grade. So there will be 2 heads of grade of each grade to really make sure that large sense feels a little bit smaller. We have our inclusion specialists, and they work with students who are learning outside, so maybe need more challenge or maybe need more consolidation. So we have a team of 1 per grade level to work to support the teachers and their educators with specialisms, and also work with students. And we're looking at what are the extracurricular opportunities on offer, things like our Week Without Walls, looking at some of the activities, how we're growing them, extending our band for next year, having a cross-age middle school choir that we're introducing. Coming in, one of the things that many parents had shared with, and certainly the school had acknowledged, there were some real scheduled issues this year. So since I've been in the chair, I've had the pleasure of meeting with many parents. I've done test groups, I've met individually with every member of the middle school team, I've met with student groups, and we're constantly listening to the feedback and looking at how we can refine a schedule that, as I said, helps to develop autonomy, competence and relatedness. So as we're looking at that, we're going through. So next year, the exciting news is, for grade 6, we'll be doing an exploratory program. And typically what an exploratory is each child in middle school, in grade 6, will be exposed with specialist teachers to music, art, drama and design and technology, basically on a rotational wheel. Then they will also be exposed to both French and Spanish. The rationale is we're expecting 11-year-olds to pick choices of what they want to study in, but how do they do that if they've not been exposed to them? So grade 6 is going to have exploratories with all those opportunities, so that then when they get to grade 7 and 8, they select, they have choice. And in those choices, we've got some new electives coming through. We've polled the students, we've put together some new options on the table, including dance, film studies, sports studies, extending our arts program, and then we went out to the student body and we said, what do you want to do? Still a vast majority of our students want to study another world language, and that's great for pathways into high school, but they will have opportunities to study in other areas as well. So that, as we speak, there's a little video being put together to show what all those options are, and that will be going out to the community in the next week. Our wellbeing team, as I said, the heads of grade is a really critically important one because it does expand those core educators that have the net around students, and it means we can be really proactive with regular assemblies to look at the needs of grade 6 quite different to the needs of grade 8. So that we will be introducing more grade level assemblies, and then our grade 6 to 8 assemblies will be much more celebratory as far as what we do as a whole middle school, our spirit type assemblies. We're also introducing an activity coordinator. From my experience, young adolescents that don't necessarily have enough to do, they will look for things to do. So we're looking at a cross-age choir. We're introducing an activity coordinator to help design activities at lunchtime, and we're looking for different opportunities. So those that want quiet spaces, that's still on offer. There's opportunities to go outside. The student council told me they very much wanted more intramurals, so that's why we've introduced the activities coordinator. We're looking currently at our transition process, so if you're a grade 5 parent, you will get information if you haven't today. Tomorrow that will be going out. We're looking at the transition process, elementary to middle school, to make sure that's a very strong process, and then our middle to high school process started 2 weeks ago to ensure there's very smooth transition between the divisions. We're looking at our learning environment and modifying it. What does that mean? As Craig said, in the elementary school, they've done some modifications. We're also doing the same. There's a lot of research about spaces. There are many corporates that are bringing into their work environments different learning spaces and what works for learners. And in our displays and in our pods, how we're restructuring the building to make sure that they really are meeting the needs of 11 to 14-year-olds. And on that note, I'll hand back to Tammy.
So we're working our way through the school, it is with a heavy heart I tell you that Mark Starr will be moving to Vienna, an exceptional educator that's been with our school for 6 years. We can only wish him the best, and he's done amazing work as the IB coordinator and as our principal. Obviously that left a big opening, and we did an international search and received almost 200 applications. We flew in 2 external candidates and 1 internal candidate, and they went through a rather rigorous process with various committees throughout the school. So I'm so pleased to report that our incoming high school principal is our current assistant principal, Tammy Johinke. And that left an opening in the assistant principal, and I am equally proud to tell you that our current IB coordinator, who's an exceptional human being, so bright, and has brought our program so far, will now be our assistant principal. So I'd like to turn it over to our high school team.
It's too hard to do many things at one time, so I'll let somebody else do my clicking. So I'm going to just talk about a few things with a little bit more reflection. I've been here for 6 years, and there's certain things that I've seen that we do super well in the high school, and those we are continuing with, and some areas where we've grown exceptionally well over the years. And I'd like just to talk to you a little bit about some of the changes and the improvements we've been doing with regards to student wellness. If a student doesn't feel comfortable at school, prepared at school, supported at school, the academics are not going to get to the level that they wish to get to. So a few of the changes we've made was the addition of a high school dean of students, that's Mr. Doubleday, and for some reason he's in Austria on a ski trip, and I'm not, so I did something wrong there. I'll try to make changes to that for next year. Wait, I can't do the changes next year. But one of the things we've also done is, if you were at our school a few years ago, we had 3 counselors. So listening to the reflections from our school community, from our parent support advisory board, from staff and students, we progressively have increased the number of counselors that are here to support our students. So when we moved campus and came from the old DA campus to here, we increased to 4 counselors in the high school. And next year, I'm really happy to say that we're going to a 5th counselor in the high school, and one of those counselors will have the sole job of dealing with the transition, working with only grade 9 students and helping them transition into the high school, freeing up the other 4 counselors to take a quarter of grade 10, a quarter of grade 10, a quarter of grade 11, and a quarter of grade 12, giving those students extra support as they're out preparing and applying to universities. So we're really happy with that. We also have grade level advisors on each grade level that do support with the pastoral system, that work with a team of advisory teachers to deliver our moral education and to give supports, for example, the school trips. Grade 9 are on trips, our grade 9 year level advisor supports the trips, our grade 10 year level advisor works with the grade 10 careers day, our grade 11 advisor does a lot of work with grade 11 for university applications and helping the counselors, and our grade 12 advisor is just taking a brief break as last Thursday was the last day for our seniors. So we have a fantastic team working with supporting our students all the way through. And on that note, I'm going to pass over to another member of our team, I'll be back in a second, who will, one more piece I'm missing is our academic support center. I know I'm missing something. It's on the next post-it, it's fine. When I first started at DA in the old campus, we had 1 member of staff who was designated as academic support with assistant. I'm very happy to say that at the moment we have 3 full-time teachers that are designated to academic support, social emotional support, and on the very, very rare occasion, behavioral support. They need some support with their behavior in the high school, and we now have 3 full-time teachers, like I mentioned, plus an assistant working with that team. So the level of support that we have for our students as they proceed through high school has increased dramatically over the past 4 years. So I'll pass over to Ms. Tammy Johinke.
I'm going to walk
over here, make things a little different. I have no video, so I think this is good juju. So curriculum and assessment. As I was sitting here and as we were preparing the slides, there were 3 questions that kept coming to my mind. What can we do differently? What can we do better? And how does that impact our students? So one of the new electives that we are proud to say we are the only school in the UAE that we have this elective here in our school is artificial intelligence, and we are really happy to see and have Director of Robotics and Artificial Intelligence right here on staff who is teaching that. In addition, we're introducing an introduction to computer science and also an art technical skills. That's for next year. A new IB course that is brand new to the IB is Global Politics, and we ran our numbers. We have at least 2 classes for next year starting. We're also going to introduce, in addition to our IB physics, a high school physics for next year. Now, when we look at all of these results, we think about the impact that all of the changes have been made on our students. And we are happy to say that we made some programmatic changes to our math program. We had a traditional track and we moved it to a concept-based math. And looking at our scores for winter, we are really happy to say that 80% of our students are at or above the outstanding criteria. And of those, 64% of our grade 10, so 152 of our students, are actually exceeding the beyond outstanding at or above the 80th percentile. So we're really happy for these results.
Okay, thank you very much, Tammy. I just wanted to get up here and talk to you guys just quickly about our IB program here. And I did really just want to focus on where we are and where do we want to go. We do have a very rich history here, and a history that we're very proud of in DAA, looking at our results and supporting our students through the program and on to the next step, whether it be university, gap year, or whatever it may be. As you can see on the board there, in relation to world average on the right-hand side there, you can see that DAA's results are consistently above the world average in terms of pass rate, in terms of IB scores, as well as the average grade. So we are really quite proud of what our students have done over the last few years. Last year we went through an IB 5-year review, and we received our feedback with 22 commendations about our IB program. So it is something that we are really quite proud of here at DAA, being one of the largest, if not the largest program, DP-wise, in the Middle East. But where do we want to go? We don't just sit here and rest on our laurels. We want to sit down and kind of strive to make that next step. And we want to kind of analyse our program and really sit down and think, what else can we do to support our students? One of the things that really comes out when you talk to an IB student, and if you've had children go through it or you know somebody going through the IB program, it's extremely intense. Levels of stress really do build up, and some students really do struggle. Now, we talk about it in high school in terms of productive struggle. That struggle is a good thing, but we want to make sure that we are sitting down and we're supporting these students through that productive struggle. One of the things that we've sat down and we've decided to open up next year is an IB core class. And one of the key fundamental aspects of the IB is a core class, which involves the extended essay, theory of knowledge, as well as CAS, which is one of the real strengths of the IB program over some of the other types of university prep programs out there. Extended essay teaches them how to write academically, university-based skills. Theory of knowledge teaches them how to question and how to challenge different ideas from different perspectives. And CAS really challenges them to engage with the community and try to improve themselves. Now, thinking of this, and as well as building on what Mr. Starr said about wellbeing, we're bringing in a 2-year core program next year. Now, the idea behind this 2-year core program is to try and support our students even more through the IB. Support them through that productive struggle so that we can get there and help monitor them. We can try and, you know what, let them struggle, step back a little bit, but if we see them struggling too much, we can kind of step in and help. Not do it for them, but sit there and guide, prod, push, which is really what our job here is to do, to try and challenge them so they develop those skills, time management, organisation, that when they get to university, they're going to be able to grow with and really dominate once they reach the next step beyond DAA. So, core class, one of them. Second thing that we've really been working on this year, The IB has got a 7-year curriculum review cycle, and math has come up this year. And it's one of the big things that we've been working through with the math department. We've run a number of coffee mornings to sit down and make sure that it's open and quite transparent, the process. But with the math changes, we've got our teachers trained up, we've got students knowing where they need to go and getting them into the right courses, which we believe math is one of our core subjects, is really something that is quite important. And finally, listening to parents and listening to students, the concerns about teacher recruitment. We've spent a lot of time this year recruiting some of the best teachers out there. Looking at our math program, we are losing 2 math teachers who have been great, but we have recruited really strongly. We have a math IB workshop leader who has travelled the world leading the workshops in the new curriculum. We have an IB physics teacher who is an examiner coming in with 20 years worth of experience. We have an IB chemistry teacher, higher level, standard level, as well as biology, who also is an IB examiner. So we've sat down and we've spent a lot of time bringing in some of the best teachers out there to support and grow our program over the next couple of years. Thank you.
And just a few more minutes for me. One thing that we're really, really proud of is our counselling office. Our counsellors are busy, they're non-stop. I'm sure many of you have tried to make appointments and you've talked to Ms. Jan, and getting appointments in with the counsellors can sometimes be really tricky. One of the big motivational pushes when we talk to the students about when they're thinking for their university destination is best fit. The counsellors spend an immense amount of time working with students to get a sense of what would be the best fit university for those students. Since 2018, our counsellors have processed 2,626 university applications, so they're busy. They're getting all these applications off to schools all the time. The class of 2018 was very fortunate and received scholarships in the amount of $1.7 million in terms of scholarship offers for members of the class. This year, our students have already received over 1,000 acceptances to universities. Many students will receive multiple acceptances, and then they get the joy of choosing, or the stress of actually choosing which universities they do end up going to. And we're very proud that 100% of our students will matriculate into post-secondary education when they leave DAA. Might not be what they've initially thought when they started high school, but as their journey goes through high school with some guidance from our exceptional counseling team, they are very successful in going out there. Just on the list, some of the universities that our students have matriculated in, and I do recommend if you go onto our website, you'll get much more information from the high school profile, and that will list all the universities where our students have matriculated to in the last couple of years. So we're really happy with where our seniors end up going when they do leave DAA. So at this moment, I'll pass it back to Ms. Murphy.
So we've spoken a lot about what's happening in our classroom and with your students, but now we want to spend a little bit of time telling you the investment we have in our teachers. That's the closest circle to your students each and every day. So Dr. Lisa Ramshaw will share a little bit about professional learning.
My dog doing, I can't work a microphone. Okay, this slide is actually quite amusing to me. I walked into elementary the other week, and a group of grade 5ers were just sitting outside of their classroom working on some collaborative project. And they said, "Stop this, come and sit down with us." I said, "Why?" "Well, we just want to know who you are and what you do." And I said, "Well, the easiest way to describe my job is that I teach teachers. And that's what I've been doing within GEMS for the last 10 years. But that wasn't enough. They looked at me and they were still a bit confused. And they said, "Do you want to know what we call you?" And I said, I don't know, do I want to know? "We call you the walker." So I spend most of my time walking elementary school, middle school and high school and working with our teachers, K to 12. So this picture pretty much depicts what I do, but I manage to close the rings on my Apple Watch quite often, so that's also a bonus. But with teaching and learning and innovation, we rarely separate them here, and we really do integrate them. Now I know you all can read, and you've had a long night listening, so I'm going to give you a reading task now, so you can see the vision from teaching and learning, and how it actually really spans into the vision for innovation and what we're trying to achieve. But ultimately, it's about our teachers and it's about the agency that we want them to have, which is exactly what we want for our students. If we don't treat our teachers that way, how do we expect them to treat our students that way, your children? So this is where we aim to be. And I think it's easy to say, we're definitely on this path. We definitely keep moving. We're at a state of the school now where we can celebrate our success. And even if we think about our KHDA or look at our KHDA comments, you can see that innovation is systematic. We do have robots in the school, but we actually have real people also. And these real people are our innovation activator team. And they work with our teachers as coaches alongside teachers, but with the ultimate aim that they do that so well, they do themselves out of a job because our teachers are so innovative. And that's already starting to happen, so we're able to elevate their roles into other things, so they work with more robots. But you can also see our students, your children, they're highly engaged in what they're doing. They are critical thinkers. If we go back to this slide here, our mission is to make sure our students are able to critically think. They are doing that, and KHD have said so. However, is that enough for us? No, it's not. We're going to go beyond outstanding, and this is what we need your support on, but ultimately it's our teachers. Jim mentioned earlier about us recruiting and retaining the best teachers. When our teachers do move on, or our leaders move on, we replace them with teachers that are just as high quality, and that's something that we pride ourselves on. What we expect from our students, we expect from our teachers as well, like I said earlier. So we have to be able to give that opportunity to teachers to also be curious, to also continue their learning. They don't just get their degree, walk into a classroom, and that's it for the next 20 years. It's something that they are continuously working on. And again, KHDA reported on that this year. But again, we're going to go beyond outstanding, and we're going to continue our professional development with our teachers. In our academic calendar, I think Hilda's going to send out an updated one this week, we have 5 professional development days for our teachers. And interestingly, April 21st, we started to create a new culture where actually our DAA teachers are creating professional development opportunities for our DAA teachers. We acknowledge that the expertise that we bring into the school doesn't just lie with us and our admin team, it lies with those teachers as well. So being able to share, being able to be collaborative, interdependent with each other is something that we really want to harness here with our teachers in schools. So with those 5 days of PD, I can guarantee you as parents, they're not wasted days. We don't let them go home early. We work them, I think we were here till 4 o'clock with the workshops they were running. And many of our admin team, our SLT team ran workshops as well. We have weekly Tuesday afternoons, and again, they are scheduled in. Our SLT are constantly on their knees asking me, but can we just have division time? I'm like, no, we are sticking to our professional development time. But even in the division time, we are committed continuously to utilising that time where teachers are able to professionally develop themselves. Our leaders, our middle leaders, Lisa talks about really kind of growing the middle leadership team. We give them training for that. We can't expect teachers to step out of the classroom and be great leaders. It's a different skill set. But ultimately, how we operate as leaders, we do the same with our teachers and they do the same with their students. We're a full learning organisation, and that's certainly where we are moving to. But we can't do it all alone, so we do have specialist IB training. We do have world-renowned consultants who come into the school. We have Erin Kent, who Craig mentioned, who comes in to talk about literacy and work with our teachers on literacy. We had Dr. Thomas Guskey, who came into middle school to talk about how effective are our assessment processes. We've already mentioned Lee Crockett. We'll get that video coming to you in your email inboxes soon. And we've got Kath Murdoch, who's going to be coming into school this year as well to really kind of harness what we drive forward in terms of inquiry. So with that being said, working with our shifts of practice with what Lee Crockett works with us on in our future fluencies, we bring all of these international educators into one space, but this is our common language here. And then we're able to speak from that common language when we're working together as a collaborative, interconnected group. So, thank you very much. Not only do we work with our teachers, but we work with all of our Arabic and Islamic teachers as well, which Tammy's going to talk about now.
Thanks for your patience. So we have two other areas, if you could just bear with us, that we'd like to talk about. Arabic and Islamic is an area in our inspection report that did not achieve the same ratings as the rest of the school. Despite our efforts in this area, we just were not seeing the growth at the same rate as we are in other subjects. So we've stepped back with an amazing department that is so dedicated to this work, that gives so much time to their craft and expanding their repertoire. What we have done, and it has been just wholeheartedly supported by the School Support Center, once known as the corporate office. We've asked for additional staffing because we'd like to bring on next year Arabic and Islamic dedicated coaches to work side by side with the teachers in each division. And on this slide, you'll see some other things that we're working on. One is that there are appropriate pathways and that the curriculum does move seamlessly from one division to the next. You may, as parents, I'm not sure where all your children are, but you may have experienced that you may have a certain passport, but really have not been immersed in the language. And Arabic A students grouped in the same classroom when one child has been learning Arabic since they were 4. The differentiation is too wide. So they will be working on new pathways so that we're sure we can get each child to succeed and to thoroughly enjoy Arabic. So Noha, who couldn't be with us tonight, will be sending out information about a coffee, and they will be giving out Arabic placements before the end of the year so that if you as parents have questions, you have the opportunity before summer break to come in and speak with someone. Our ratings in this area were split between acceptable and good, when the rest of the school is sitting at the majority of ratings of outstanding with some very goods. We have a strong commitment from every staff member, as well as some exceptional new teachers we have stolen from other schools to join our learning community. And we are committed to moving every acceptable to good, and then good to very good, and climb that mountain to outstanding. So these are some other areas that are coming, but please look for the coffee, because I really think it's important for you to know the entire school is committed to this work. We will be relentless about it. The work has started this year. We're bringing this layer of support like we've never had for this department. And most importantly, I want you to know as parents, the department, each and every teacher, and those coming on board are committed to this work for your children. I know this has been the area, at least in my short time here, I've had the most questions from parents, or the most concern that it just didn't seem to keep up with the other work of the school. So I just want to stand here and actually look all 52 of you in the eye and say, DAA is committed to this work, and we are going to see incredible progress for your children in this area. So stay tuned, more on that. Okay. Boy, this is just one of those things where, like, we practiced today 3 times. It was perfect. Videos worked, the clicker worked, the last slide. I don't understand. Okay. So you see how calm we remain when things don't go right here. It should give you comfort during the day when you leave us with your children. There we go. Once in a while, I hope you can put up, the proud mama wants to brag. Pretty much every day here, I could brag about something. Your children are fabulous, so I should just, because I should have started with this, say thank you. what a gift you give us every day. And I hope you feel from each and every one of us, we take it so seriously. They're all our kids. And we get to spend a lot of time with them. So Proud Mama wants to brag a little. It was really an amazing weekend for DAA. There were the UAE Team Sports Awards held, where DAA kind of cleaned up, like the clean-up batter in baseball. If any of you know, I'm not a really good sports person, but we won Best Facility in the UAE, which was exceptional. Our students also achieved awards in many areas, so it was just a really nice night to spotlight another area that makes DAA special. We've talked so much about academics, but it really is activities and athletics that really make the whole person thrive at DAA. Our athletic director is here, Scott. He has so many exciting things coming next year. This is one of my favorites. I'm just kind of stuck on this. I can't wait to see them. And that is the mini leopards. We've never had MESAC sport events down to 2nd and 3rd grade. And Scott and his team will be bringing that forward next year. So how exciting. Team sports really build character. That'll be coming. We're adding an activities director, K-12. One of the things Scott noticed and that we've been looking at as a school is how do we make all these wonderful activities and clubs and things that happen after school work more seamlessly? How do we ensure, as best we can, that a young person doesn't have to pick between badminton and the play, basketball and the band? How do we work a schedule where actually students can get exposed to many things that they like? We'd love to just spotlight championships, broken records in MESAC. So this is really a testament to the work of Scott and his coaches. There's a lot to celebrate there. 15 broken MESAC records from DAA, the powerhouse. Go Leopards. So yeah, that's just amazing stuff. Thank you. Individual medals this year. We finally bought a trophy case. I don't know if you noticed, but we plan on filling that up. So closing thoughts, we're finally there. You've been so patient and so grateful for you being here tonight. There is no finish line. We're committed to your children. We're committed to this work. And we're committed to the DAA community. I can't thank you enough for being part of it, for trusting your children to us each and every day. We are always available. Parents are really just one of the main ingredients in making this all work. You're our partners in this work. So please feel free to reach out to any of us if you have any questions. We'll be around a little bit tonight. You can reach out at us. If you'd like, there's a link there. We'll also put that out. You can take a picture with your camera. You can shoot us any question. There's a Google form in there, and we'll be happy to answer it. Thank you again for being here tonight and being part of DAA's first State of the School address. Have a lovely evening. Thank you. Everyone that attended gets 5% off the tuition. Sorry.